Lurk Cartman 3XY338 says, "Wow, that last one is so illogical. Why would you slide a card out of the middle to put it straight into the middle?" Well, Mr. Cartman, you are absolutely correct. So what he's talking about here is a card control I did a while ago. Now, the card control uses a switch called the Reverse Glide by Harvey Rosenthal. So in this move, you basically take a card out of the middle and put it back into the middle and control it to the bottom of the deck. Now, what it's referring to is the fact that you have to take it out to put it right back into the middle. Why wouldn't you just keep it there right where it is? I mean, this whole thing, all this movement is completely illogical. So I took Mr. Cartman's advice and I started just thinking about it and thinking about different ways I could apply this move or this switch to different things, different ways I can present it, maybe in a routine, and I'd like to show you what I've come up with. Let's get into it. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll demonstrate this routine that I came up with that uses that switch, and then afterwards I'll teach you exactly how it's done. Alright, so let's say that we have somebody here that's going to help us for this trick. Alright, so you can have them shuffle as much as they want to, it doesn't make a difference, and that's a cool part about this trick is it's completely impromptu. Alright, so when you take it back, you say, look, as I run through cards like this, just say stop anytime that you want, and that'll be your card. Alright, so you do that, and they say stop maybe right here, it's fine, and they take a look at their card, you don't look, but you say, look, sometimes people who do card tricks and magic tricks, they get sneaky, and sometimes they can take a peek at the card above or maybe below your card to sort of keep track of it. But in this case, I won't do that. In fact, you can take your card and put it somewhere in the middle of the deck and shuffle it just so not even you could know where that card is. In fact, we can do the same way over here, shuffle these, and just so everything is nice and random. In fact, we'll take it a step further, just so your card is really lost somewhere in the deck, like this. We can smush these together and give them a good shuffle like that. Go ahead and do that. And so they do that. They can handle the deck as much as they want to. And it's really out of hands at this point. Alright, so even if I saw a peek of your card, there's no way that I could keep track of it during this mess right here. Alright, so all I really know about your card is that it's somewhere between the top one and the bottom. That's all I know. But we can probably make something happen here using your imagination, alright? So do me a favor, really focus on your card, focus on the color, the suit, the value, really imagine that card in your head, and take your hand and put it on top of the deck, and I want you to imagine that card as if it's in an elevator going up all the way through to the top of the deck, just like this, and it's done. Lift up your hand. For the first time, what was your card? The Jack of Spades. Alright, so as you can see, this trick uses sort of a lot of things, including that one move, but it's layered in a way that makes that move seem like the least important thing that's going on here. All it is you're demonstrating how it would be impossible to know where their card is, but in fact, you're doing that in a way that you can keep track of it. That's not important. What's important is the moves here. Alright, so what you want to do is this can be a borrowed deck, a shuffled deck. It's completely impromptu, and to start out with, what you want to do to make it easier for later is riffle down the deck like this, and you want to have them stop past the midpoint. All right, what I mean by that is you want to time it to where they stop you at least 2/3 down the deck. All right, so the half you show them, the half you show them up here is more than half the deck. All right, so you do that. They say stop any time. Time it to where, start the riffle not on top, but start it maybe right here in the middle, just so they do say stop past the middle point. All right. You don't really have to time it, just do the riffle kind of fast so that they are sort of forced to say stop near the bottom of the deck, alright? So they do that, they say stop. Now what we want to do is make it very clean that you're actually taking the cards they say that says stop on, and most of the time they'll get a peek at that card anyway, so what you do is you just take these cards like this and show them the card, and as they're looking at it, what you want to do is get a pinky break under the card here, alright? So this is misdirection enough when they're looking at it, but What you don't really want to do is this. I mean, that'd be kind of obvious. I mean, why are you doing that? So what I like to do is Dave Vernon's backup breaker move, and what that is this. So this backup breaker move allows you to get a break under the top card very discreetly, alright, and it works like this. It's kind of the same thing as doing this, but it's not as open and obvious as that, alright? It's very minute, alright? So what you'll do is take your thumb and reach it down to your pinky like this towards almost touching it. And then what you're going to do is just scoop that card a little bit, just a tiny hair over like this, and it gets angled, and the pivot point is sort of on your index finger here. Alright, so that gets, you see how that's being angled just like that, very slightly, but that's also hidden because you're doing this, alright? You're tilting, you're necktying this packet towards yourself, so nothing can be seen. Alright, so just practice that move until you can get it like this, and it just slides across your pinky like this, allowing you to get that break under, just like that. Moving on. So you show them the card like this as you do the back breaker move. I've just done it there, I got my break. Now, what you're gonna do is simulate taking the card off like this, but in fact, since you have that break here, what you do is at that broken card on the bottom of this packet here, like this, you just pick it up with your hand like this, but it's under the packet like this, just add it onto the bottom of the packet like that. Alright, so you come over here and you're like this, pretend to take the card off, but really the card you just added on is the card you're taking off. Alright, so, and you do that as you say, look, sometimes as magicians, and that's when the move is done. Alright, so what you're saying is more important than what you're doing in this case, so that it hides it a lot better. I mean, imagine if you said this, look, I'll take your card off like this, and that causes suspicion, but if you're saying something else that is totally off what you're doing, it's psychological misdirection, alright? So you're saying, look, sometimes as magicians, and you're just doing that on the offbeat as you're talking, alright? So sometimes people who do card tricks can sometimes take a look at the card, maybe above or below your card, and you've done the switch as you're saying that. Alright, now you say, look, but I won't do that. I don't want to keep track of it. In fact, you can take your card and put it somewhere in the deck, and they really can. They can push it in, and now you have them just mix the cards up, just so that nobody could know, not even you, what your card is. And as they're doing that, you'll shuffle your packet as well. In this case, shuffling that bottom card, their card, to the top of the deck with an overhand shuffle. And you do that by chopping off blocks like this and just running singles when you get to the last card. Boom, their card is on top of the packet now. Now you just have them put their cards there, and you put your cards here. Now, what you'll do is a controlled Rosetta shuffle, and what that is the move like this, where you just spin the cards like this and have them smush them together like this. And it's a great way to have the participant do a riffle shuffle, alright, but this just makes it easier for them. And the reason why you took more cards off in the beginning is so when they do that, there's no way that their card will end up on top no matter what. Since this portion is bigger than this, it has to go on top. Alright, so they do that, they finish that shuffle, and as you're doing this, as you're picking these up, you say, look, even if I saw a peek of your card, there's no way that I could keep track of it during this messy shuffle like this. And you have to sort of say something, keep them entertained as you're doing this, because this is the most boring part about it, when you're squaring these cards up, right? So after they're squared up, you say, look, all I know about your card is that it's somewhere between the top one and the bottom one. And that's just one more added convincer, just one more layer to this deception that I've just done there. And that right there is called the Capps subtlety, like this, or the Capps show by Fred Capps, where you seemingly show the top card like this. All I know about your card is somewhere between the top one and the bottom one. And what you're doing here is a very casual double lift. And normally you would never do a double lift like this, alright? That's only for amateurs. But in this case, it works because you're just doing this, displaying the top and bottom cards like this, so it makes sense what you're doing. And for this, you don't have to sit there and try to get a break under 2 cards. In fact, you can take up to 4 or 5 cards. It doesn't matter. All you're aiming to do is get more than 1 card, all right? Because the movement like this, nobody will ever see that thickness, all right? So if you say, look, top card, boom, bottom card, they'll have to agree with you because it's just you're doing what you're saying you're doing. So all you're doing here is you're just grabbing a few cards. It doesn't have to be 2 cards, it doesn't have to be 3 cards, just a little bit of cards that's more than 1 card, because this motion hides that thickness, alright? So you say, look, all I know about your card is it's somewhere between the top one and the bottom one. Alright, so look how convincing that is, right? And so now you say, you just put the deck on the table and say, look, what I want you to do is really imagine your card in your head. Focus on your card, the color, the value, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, let's take it a step further. Put your hand on top of the deck so I can't get to any of the cards. And say, look, I want you to imagine your card as if it's in an elevator, moving up through the deck, all the way to the top of the building, up to the top of the deck, like this. And you want to give it a snap to really emphasize that the magic has happened. All right, so imagine your card is going up all the way to the top of the deck, like this. Give it that snap, tell them to remove their hand, and have them take a look at the top card, which is now their card. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me, and if you learned something new, if you got value from the video, do me a huge favor, hit the like button and sub to the channel. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.